Yo, Africa. We're not just about safaris and amazing wildlife, all right? We got some serious economic muscle happening over here. In 2024, 3 countries stood out as the absolute champions of GDP: South Africa, Egypt, and Algeria. These guys are like the economic trinity of the continent. South Africa, our rainbow nation, is a powerhouse of manufacturing, finance, and all things industry. They're like the responsible older sibling who always has their act together. Egypt, the land of pharaohs and pyramids, is killing it in tourism and agriculture. They're like the cool cousin who always throws the best parties. And then we got Algeria, the North African giant, sitting on a treasure trove of oil and gas reserves. They're like the quiet neighbor who suddenly wins the lottery. These 3 economies are not just big on the continent, they're making waves globally. But hold up, before we get too excited, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the oil rig in the desert. Now let's talk about my Nigerian brothers and sisters. Along with Libya and Angola, they're sitting on a sea of oil, which is fantastic for their GDP, right? Well, here's the catch. When your economy is hooked on a single resource, it's like being a rapper with only one hit song. When oil prices are high, everyone's popping champagne, but when those prices drop, it's like someone cut the music and turned on the lights. This over-reliance on oil can be a bumpy ride. It's like putting all your eggs in one very fragile basket. So, while these oil-rich nations might boast impressive GDP numbers, it's not always smooth sailing. Diversifying their economies is key to long-term stability and prosperity. Think of it like this: you don't want your entire retirement fund invested in one volatile stock. Now here's where things get interesting. You see, a massive GDP doesn't always mean everyone's rolling in dough. It's like having a huge birthday cake. Impressive. But if you're sharing it with 1,000 people, you're only getting a tiny slice. That's where GDP per capita comes in. It's like dividing the cake equally among everyone. And guess what? Some of Africa's economic giants, despite their impressive GDP figures, don't rank so high when it comes to GDP per capita. This means that while the country as a whole might be wealthy, the average citizen might not be seeing the benefits. It's like having a fancy sports car but still struggling to make rent. So what's the takeaway here? Well, it's not enough to just look at the big numbers. We need to talk about how that wealth is distributed among the people. It's like throwing a party. It's not a real celebration if only a few people are dancing and the rest are stuck doing the dishes. Africa needs to focus on creating opportunities for all its citizens, not just a select few. We need education, healthcare, and job creation that benefits everyone. It's time to spread the wealth and make sure that economic growth translates to a better life for all Africans. That's the real measure of success, my friends, not just how much money a country makes, but how that money uplifts the lives of its people.